Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 13 of season 2 of our F125 Aston Martin driver career mode. Yes, we return this weekend here, back once again at Silverstone. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a couple of days ago from the normal Grand Prix, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. It was a fairly calm race, right until the very end, where Lewis Hamilton and I had a rather intense battle for the final podium position. But yeah, we saw a bit of a resurgence of form up at the front of the order for one Lando Norris. He's just been quietly consistent so far this campaign, but chalking up his second victory of the season and on a very impressive 5-race podium streak. Our fellow Brit, obviously reigning world champion. It was impossible to ever discount him early on in this championship, but back ahead of Max Verstappen this season means that he is a real threat as we head into the second half of the year. We've still got a 26-point buffer up at the top of the championship, but this is going to be my first ever race around the reverse Silverstone as well inside F125, at least hopefully in the dry conditions, I should add. So fingers crossed this one's going to be good. Make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel as well if you are new around here. Our goal throughout the second half of the year, I want to kind of become a little bit of an Oscar Piastri, probably more likely an Alain Prost. Just do the bare minimum we need to make sure we keep the points lead we've got. I'd love to get to Abu Dhabi with the championship wrapped up. We'll wait and see what happens though, because there is a long time before we get there. But yeah, let's just see what we can do though this weekend. Must admit, I'm very excited for this one. Well, heading out then into qualifying here for the British Grand Prix once again, then this layout really does require a lot of bravery around the lap, so we'll wait and see as to what we can do first time round. Just want to try and get a good safe banker lap in first and foremost, and then we'll really try and push on the second outing. Turn 1 is barely flat out before you immediately on the anchors, and that kind of sets you up all the way through turn 2 and turn 3 there. Try and use a little bit of battery on the exit of the corner, up then through turn 4. Really got to try and get it right up to that exit curb even, I should say. You've got to be careful with the gravel on the outside. Now, I believe this version is slightly slower than the normal layout here at Silverstone. This is the only other problem as well with this version of the circuit. There's not really many opportunities to overtake. Obviously, where a lot of the big braking zones now have obviously been reversed. Really, one of your best opportunities is actually down in towards Luffield here. Of course, with the modified DRS zone as well. But just trying to make sure that we get the car sucked in nicely. Don't want to hug the apex too badly like you do the other way around. It just allows you to carry a bit more speed and get on the throttle a little bit earlier on the exit there. 1.4 seconds up on Liam Lawson, though, as we make our way in towards Sector 3. Again, that corner completely flat out before you're trying to get the car straightened up in through the loop. Really difficult to get the throttle down through here. I like to go for a slightly different line than what the AI do, but hopefully this is going to be a lap time in the 1:25s there, as nice and easy through the final couple of corners. 25.9. We're about 2 tenths away from Lewis Hamilton, but we're down in P6. Once again, then, it looks like drivers are going to be trying to chase a 1:24 lap time if they want to put it on pole position. Verstappen, though, one of the best Formula 1 drivers when you step into unknown scenarios. He is currently top of the board, just ahead of both of those McLaren cars. Let's see what we can do, though. We need to find about another 8 tenths of a second at the moment, but honestly, with a bit of confidence and a bit of bravery, nothing is impossible around this track. So let's just try and make sure that we keep it clean and tidy. So again, just trying to hang on to the car through turn 1 and turn 2. Try to avoid that sausage curb on the exit once again, and already finding a 1/10.5 as we make our way up through. I mean, it doesn't really feel like a hill when you're going the other way, but climbing up in towards turn 4, it does feel rather scary. Will we see any more major improvements? I don't think we have up at the front of the order then. So I think Verstappen, he's on a 1:25.09, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see how close we can get to that. It's already half a second up then by the time we get to the end of Sector 2. Just going down to 7th gear there, make sure we get the bite from the front, and this lap is really starting to come together. I haven't got much battery though, so we're going to have to be careful of that towards the end of it there, as 3rd gear down through Luffield. Really try and just modulate the throttle, short shift up through 4th, and then try and get on the loud pedal nice and early on the exit. 9 tenths of a second up. purple through Sector 2. Is this going to be the lap that potentially gets us up onto pole position then as we break at the 100-meter board there, really try and carry the speed in through the first part of the loop? It might compromise us a little bit though on the exit, as we are a second up then at the final corner. Use the battery on the run back round towards the line. Will this be pole position here at Silverstone? Yes, it is. Really, really happy with that one. Felt like we were up against it in the end, but we have done it. Well, there we go then. Pole position by just 0.2 of a second ahead of Max Verstappen. McLaren will lock out row 2 there, and Lewis Hamilton starting down in P5. Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly, brilliant effort by both of those two to get comfortably up inside the top 10 ahead of both Ferraris, and Alonso 1.6 seconds slower than myself here. Really do wonder what on earth is going on with Fernando right now. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, 2.3 seconds off the pace in that Mercedes car. He'll be disappointed, and so will George Russell. But we've got a huge opportunity today. Can we win our second home race?
Welcome to not only the home of British motorsport, but also the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, a classic on the calendar, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Piastri, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Albon, Gasly, Colapinto, Leclerc, and Fernando Alonso, Russell, Doohan, Esteban Ocon, and Hülkenberg, Bortoletto, Sainz, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Ollie Behrman. Lawson and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Well, here we are then, back down on the grid once again here for the British Grand Prix. I must admit, I think if they were ever going to do a double-header event in Formula 1, Silverstone would surely be, you know, right up towards the top of the list for circuits that could host it, because, yeah, this place gets so much attendance every single year, and is a beautiful, beautiful circuit as well then. We're going to stick with the same strategy we did in the normal race, but hopefully tyre wear will be slightly better this time round then. Verstappen, Norris and Hamilton both all going aggressive. 5 red lights. Oh, and it's lights out, and away we go then, and we need to make sure we hold on to that lead in towards turn 1, as Norris immediately trying to look around the outside of Verstappen there. Oh, I just got to try and get some temperature into these tyres nice and early, but we've done pretty well off the start, and already Norris and Verstappen as well, wheel to wheel. So we've got to try and take the initiative here and see if we can just build up a little bit of a buffer nice and early on. I think Verstappen has held on though. Doesn't take the AI long to kind of sort themselves out inside F125 then, but up then in towards, I guess now technically we call it Beckett's and Maggots, don't we, rather than Maggots and Beckett's on this alternate layout. But we've done alright off the start. We've held on exactly where we need to, as Verstappen already looking pretty racy here at the start. I reckon in qualifying trim, the old turn 1 is completely flat out if you get the line nailed, as the Dutchman, well, again, I think wanted to consider getting a run back down in towards Luffield, but just couldn't quite bring himself to do it on this opening lap. You can obviously be a little bit cheeky into that braking zone, because obviously you've got the little corner beforehand. It's already then Verstappen, surely he's not going to be able to try and make a move up here. This corner barely flat out by yourself, never mind too wide. And luckily again, the Dutchman just biding his time, waiting at the moment for the opportunity to come to him. Like I said, it's one of those circuits now where there's really, yeah, like I said, only one overtaking zone down in towards Luffield. Otherwise, everywhere else is a really tricky braking point to try and get nailed. But we lead at the end of lap 1 then, and now we've just got to try and sit here. Unless the DRS is really powerful, which I guess we'll find out in just a second. Yeah, going to be very, very difficult, as it doesn't really look like there was much movement then on lap 1. Piastri even hanging on ahead of Lewis Hamilton then, as will Verstappen now be able to get a run on me up the hanger straight to the outside. He's going to have a look. Oh, wheel to wheel we go, but again, the Dutchman just about backs out. Don't say that very often in Formula 1. But we're really just trying to settle into our rhythm nice and early in this Grand Prix, seeing where Verstappen is strong and or where maybe he isn't, as that's not the line I needed through the exit of the S's there. Really awkward, where you just brake for the first one, and then it's flat out through the rest, but damn, through the old turn one, or barely hanging on to the car through there as well, getting a little bit of grass on the tyres, but already it feels like we're starting to form a little bit of a train. Your top 5 have broken away from Albon and Gasly, who both desperately need some good points this weekend, just to help their team's championship hopes. But yeah, I think the weird thing is, of course, that Verstappen just can't get a run on me anywhere, because all the runs out onto the DRS straights now are very quick corners, so it's very, very difficult, obviously, in the dirty air still, to really be able to do anything about it. He's actually getting the closest to me through the loop. The AI get really good traction on the exit of those corners that I just cannot find inside this game. But at the moment, yeah, we've just got to look after the tyres as well. We'll see what they're doing in just a second there as well. Still getting a little bit skatey through turn 1 and turn 2. But how great is it to see British Racing Green up at the front here at Silverstone? Tyre wear looks to be a lot better than the other way around there as well. That's not good though. A little bit of a mistake as we try and get the power down out of the not Cops corner, sorry. Will we be able to hang alongside Verstappen? No, we won't, because he actually gives me a big old squeeze.
It is critical for our race that we keep them behind, please.
Okay, apparently we've just got to try and keep Norris behind them, but I want to try and get back ahead of Verstappen as soon as I can, because I'm just a little bit worried that the Dutchman might be able to pull away from me there, trying to get on the battery as early as we possibly can. Can we get the run back down in towards Luffield? Surely we can. To the inside we'll go. Get the car stopped on the apex. So we get a little bit slidey through the first part of the corner there, as the Dutchman will hang on the long way around, try and do the odd up and under on the exit. Not quite going to be able to get the run there, and of course no DRS then. Back up in towards the loop, to the outside we go. Surely this one can't work. As all Verstappen actually backs out of it. No idea why. He thinks about getting to the inside again. So I think the AI are hard-coded not to go wheel-to-wheel through that corner, and we will capitalise. Oh, again, then Verstappen trying to get a run, and there's just not a lot we can do here. The Dutchman just able to carry the speed. To the inside we'll go. Try and catch him out by surprise there again, and well, you got to try and play the mental games with the Dutchman. You got to really keep him on his toes, and just, you know, kind of get into question when you're going to go for moves, and when you might kind of just sit back and hold station there. But again though, still hanging on to the lead, and let's not forget we are on the harder tyre. I don't know whether the AI already is beginning to struggle on their softs. They didn't have any problems on the other layout, so I would expect them to be the same today. But yeah, Verstappen just seemingly lacking confidence. Oh, we got retirement. We got a retirement. Oh, I think Alex Albon has either retired or just gone for a spin in this Grand Prix. Either way, disappointment for Williams then on what was looking like it could be a great home race for them. Albon will get the car going, but he is all the way down in last. Oh, Verstappen again trying to have a look for a run. No, they will not go for it. Up into that corner. I got no idea why. In fact, he actually tries to have a look back for a move through the second part of the turn, but yeah, Lando Norris as well, just breathing down the Dutchman's neck. Obviously, huge amount of confidence coming into this one after the victory last time out. But early on, I mean, look how big the gap is between your top 5 and everybody else. Red Bull and McLaren really do have quite the performance at the moment, but obviously so do McLaren. And then it's just little old me trying to hang on with them, or at least hold them up currently. And again, Verstappen getting another run on me. To the inside he'll go. And this time around we'll go wheel to wheel, or in towards Beckett to Maggots once again. This time will he be close enough to get a run though on the exit of the corner there? He's just hesitated a little bit. But Verstappen trying to have a look to the outside. We'll just cover him off. Make sure again that he just knows the run isn't going to be possible. But now with the DRS, he's going to try and have a look potentially to the outside, potentially to the inside. No, just waiting in the wings. So yeah, the Dutchman really just cannot find anywhere to go for this. And I got to admit, I thought it was the rain the first time I did this race in the My Team career mode. I just don't think Reverse Silverstone against the AI works very well inside F1 25. They just don't seem to be able to do a lot. Getting towards the pit stop window then. I think the team want to see in at the end of next lap. What are the tyres up to though? 59% on that front right. So I'm pretty certain that tyre warning light is going to flash up any time now. There you go. Yeah, not as bad management as what we had the other way around. Luckily, running a little bit higher pressures.
So let's try and be as consistent as possible with it, please.
Yep, okay, Mark. But I think we're going to try and see if we can limp the one extra lap out of the car. But again, the AI tyre wear, I know I did a video on the main channel a couple of days ago about this. It's just ridiculous. The AI have got so much. Well, making our way then in through the final couple of corners though, Verstappen, those soft compound tyres are absolutely wrecked on that Red Bull car there. We've actually got a 1 second margin now over him as we make our way into the pit lane. Just about getting the car slowed down there as yet Verstappen and Norris, my two championship rivals, will also peel into the pit lane then. So Piastri's going to lead the way here and try and see if he can get a little bit of an advantage up at the front. Come on, team. We need a good pit stop. I don't want to have to try and fight my way back through some of these cars as Aston Martin, they've done a good job,
That was a fantastic
kind of.
stop, faster than we were expecting.
They definitely hesitated as getting off the jacks there slightly as Alonso still now running around up now in P3. But we're not at risk of getting undercut by anybody. The only risk, of course, is going to be the overcut there as Verstappen and Norris now on mediums to the end. So yeah, at least Norris, he'll have pretty good data from Oscar Piastri as to what's going on with that. But annoyingly, we just lost a few tenths of a second through the pit lane against Verstappen now, and immediately he's all over my gearbox once more. But yeah, we don't know the gap to Lewis and Oscar, but hopefully we're going to not get undercut, or overcut, I should say. Here we go, Verstappen again, thinks better of it. He's got to go for that. He's got to go for that if he wants a chance this afternoon. I said that's definitely something that EA need to tweak with the coding of the AI there. But our top four then into the pit lane. So hopefully we are about to be back out in P1 then. Of course, Piastri and Hamilton will have a much shorter run back out of the pit lane there, as there is Oscar Piastri. So maybe if those mediums sort of held on for him for one extra lap, he might not be in a bad spot. As just trying to navigate our way through. This would actually be a fascinating pit exit if it was IRL then, but Piastri hasn't been able to make it happen. Verstappen again thought about having a look up the inside in towards turn 4 there, and might now be able to get a run on me as we make our way up the back straight. Where will the Dutchman have a look to the inside this time round? As we will try and defend the inside for the second part of the corner there. But look at that, the Dutchman right around our outside and back up into P1. That is not what we needed to see there, as just don't have the grip on the inside. I do genuinely believe the outside line is actually the better one through that corner if you're going wheel to wheel then, as Lando Norris now as well, potentially thinking he can size up an opportunity as we both close back in. Oh, on the Dutchman. He just broke a little bit earlier than I was expecting. And suddenly the goal there became just keep the car on the circuit. Don't run wide out into the grass. Come on, don't let those two get away. They are the two cars I cannot let get away. Look at that immediately. Those medium tyres being put to good use by both Verstappen and Lando Norris here. We've instantly dropped out of the DRS, which is really not what we want to see. I think what we need now is for Lando, hopefully, to battle with Verstappen for the lead of this Grand Prix. Could Lando Norris go 2 for 2? We won both Austrian Grand Prix, so it's not at the realms of possibility here. Well aware that Hamilton and Piastri did end up on some slightly botched strategies in this race. That's helped open up the gap a little bit more quite quickly, but just goes to show the difference between your top three and everybody else there, just how quickly we can ramp up the pace in this Grand Prix. First half of the GP, we were kind of in the 29s, 30s. Now immediately we've dipped into the 127s here, as really pushing to try and hang on to Verstappen and Norris. But again, Norris just cannot seem to find a move. How at Silverstone can you not make overtakes? We've got yellows. Looks like a Haas car maybe has gone from this Grand Prix. I don't know if they've just ran wide or maybe are out of it here, but after Alex Albon's mistake earlier on, clearly this Silverstone circuit is still catching people out. Looks like they've got going again then, so no cause for concern. I think even if we got a safety car or something like that, I mean, we could have opted to gamble over to a set of softs, and I think we'd still come out ahead of Leclerc, but this is going to be one of those races, I feel, where it's going to come back to us in the final sort of 2 or 3 laps. I'm trying just to recharge the pack slightly. But yeah, Verstappen, his pace is relentless up at the front of the order, and Lando Norris and I, just desperately trying to hang on. Got to be so careful over those orange curbs as well. But I mean, look at that. Piastri and Hamilton 7 seconds back now. We only pit 7 laps ago. Oh, now we've got yellows again. This time around, I think that's a Sauber that's actually breaking down then in this Grand Prix. Is it Bortoletto? Is it Nico Hülkenberg? I believe that might be Bortoletto, I want to say. I feel like Hülkenberg. No, it is Hülkenberg, who's having a pretty terrible time of it so far. Definitely not reliving the highs of what we saw IRL at Silverstone just a couple of weeks ago. Here's our first retirement of the afternoon. Or Lando Norris. Lando Norris might have just dropped out of the DRS range now of Verstappen, so I believe Lando really struggling in that McLaren car. He only just hung on inside the range that time around, and that might buy him just a little bit more time in this Grand Prix. I feel like McLaren have really good pace the other way around, but are struggling a little bit more. The cracks are beginning to show as Oscar Piastri desperately trying to defend from the other Red Bull through the old turn 1. We're going to try and drain some battery, just see how close to him we can get here, see if we can try and force an error out of our fellow Brits. You just see how much earlier on the brakes he was down in towards Luffield there, trying to just hug that apex a little bit tighter than what I've tried to do. Can we get a run then back up the Wellington straight here as we go purple through that middle sector? Norris desperate to defend. We will swing to the outside of him, and through we will go.
Really good job.
Norris not interested, sorry, I should say, in having that battle at the moment. And now our eyes once again glued to the Dutchman in front. Max Verstappen, can he deny the 2 Brits at their home Grand Prix? Or are these hard tyres just starting to swing in our favour? New fastest lap. Goes to show just how much we're pushing right now and how much grip these hard tyres have still got. It basically took an entire charge of battery to try and find a way around Lando Norris in this Grand Prix, so I'm desperately trying to recharge the pack to hopefully get a run on Verstappen as well. But this one, I really do feel is going to come down to the wire. It's going to come down to those final couple of laps. The Dutchman really trying to push on, see if he can break away from me, as Lando Norris just does not have the pace towards the end of the afternoon. McLaren really beginning to struggle. So yeah, it's going to be all eyes on Aston Martin versus Red Bull. 3 laps to go after this one here. Anything could still happen, as almost ran wide through the entry of the loop. That would not have been good. Into the final 2 laps then of the British Grand Prix. How many times have we seen races come down to the wire between myself and the Dutchman so far this season? Many brilliant battles have been had. And last weekend, well, we were battling on the final lap trying to defend from a Red Bull car. This time round, we are battling to the end trying to attack a Red Bull car here. Will we be able to find a way around Max? He hasn't had much luck at Silverstone IRL in his Formula 1 career. Often races have gone wrong rather than have gone right for him. But 0.6 of a second as we make our way down in towards Luffield for the penultimate time. We need to be all over his gearbox nice and soon here. Otherwise, they're going to really struggle to try and find a run on that last lap. You can't be that far behind the car in front of you. We're just trying to be really careful with where we use our battery here, because any moment, any little bit of wheel spin, any lock-up could really change it there. As talking of, a little bit of a front lock as we try and make our way through the loop. Come on, get the power down nice and tidy on the exit. Oh, I just see how much we're starting to struggle with wheel spin, as the Dutchman just been looking after his tyres over these last few laps to make sure he's got enough fight into this last one. Come on, we want to win at home. It might be our only opportunity inside this career mode, especially for Aston Martin, going up against the man that we might be joining over at Red Bull next season. We'll have to wait and see as to how things pan out through the second half of the campaign, but really trying to maximise the run out onto the hangar straight there. But so has Verstappen. Drain the battery as we make our way up in towards Maggots and Beckett's. Will we be able to get the car slowed down where I need it? Just about there, starting to struggle a bit with the grip as we try and use a bit of battery to keep us as close as we can through the exit of the corner there, down in towards Cops. Oh, down 7th gear, but we've ran horribly wide, doing plenty of rallycross on the exit. We'll keep our footing. We get a warning for track limits as well That was a little bit questionable as we just try and stay as close to Verstappen as we can. I mean, you got to give me credit. Didn't back out of it. I was committed to try and stay as close to him as we possibly can there, trying to get the power down. Up, out onto the Wellington Straight one final time. Surely there's not going to be much of an opportunity in towards these final few corners there. It's trying to close in on the Dutchman as best as I can. We can't look for a move through the second part of the loop. I think this time round, Verstappen is just about going to be able to hang on there. Gutted that we couldn't get close enough on this final lap. Max will win. We will follow him home in P2.
Yes, come on, we're on the podium. Good job this weekend. That's a great drive, thank you.
It's another victory and a champion's performance from Max Verstappen.
To come here and take victory as a team today on home soil was so important. You can see how much it means to them. The drivers there doing their part. The team's strategy was perfect as well. And the fans really embraced that. What a great atmosphere we had here today.
We had drama from start to finish, but in the end, there was only ever one that could take that top spot. And for those that have missed the Dutch national anthem, fear not. It's back again, because Max Verstappen is back on the top step.
Well, there we are then. Max Verstappen, race victory here at Silverstone, took the lead after the pit stops and never let go of it there. A really tough fight right to the checkered flag. But unfortunately, yeah, just that mistake through Copse Corner. We got a little bit of dirty air from the Dutchman in front and just could not do anything with it. We will come home P2 less than 7 tenths back. Lando Norris just ahead of Oscar Piastri. Hamilton will be disappointed down in P5 just ahead of Leclerc. Russell, decent recovery. Alonso getting good points just ahead of Colapinto and Pierre Gasly. Jack Doohan just ahead of Carlos Sainz outside of the points. And then, of course, yeah, towards the rear of the field, Albon making that mistake, Ocon making a mistake, and Hulkenberg, of course, having a mechanical failure. What does that do to our World Championship? Well, it means now the gap at the top down to just 19 points there. Norris 29 further back. But yeah, it is definitely, I think, a 3-horse race as we head into the second half of the campaign. Alonso now 6 points back behind Franco Colapinto. Still both of them behind Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz this season. So really hoping that Alonso can pull his finger out and help the team sooner rather than later. Still just both Saubers and Isaac Hadjar yet to score. Constructors-wise, Red Bull 17 ahead of McLaren. We are 99 points away there, but almost 100 ahead of Ferrari as well. Williams still just ahead of Mercedes, and then pretty much a 100-point gap back to Haas, Alpine, VCarb, and Kick Sauber there. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourselves subscribed, and we'll be back very soon ready for the Belgian Grand Prix back at Spa-Francorchamps.